Hey guys, it's Uttara and welcome back to another episode of Clueless, the podcast where I discuss the world's mysteries, conspiracies, unsolved cases, and anything like that. Now, in this video, I'm going to be talking about serial killers, specifically Indian serial killers, and I have three of them. But before we get started, again, a viewer discretion to anyone who's watching or listening. I'm going to be talking about a lot of stuff relating to murder. So, if any of that, sort of disturbs you, you all can leave a like and then switch off the video. So, let's get started. Case number one, Dr. Death. Now, Devendra Sharma, who was also known as Dr. Death, he was a doctor who stole cars and killed around 40 drivers. Now, he was a doctor of Ayurvedic medicine and was always looking for ways to make, extra money. But after a year of being cheated in some sort of a scheme, he resorted to crime. Now, he allegedly ran a fake gas agency and even an illegal kidney transplant racket. So during an interrogation with the police, he confessed from the year 1994 to 2004, he had done more than 125 kidney transplants illegally, and for which he used to get about 5 to 7 lakhs per transplant, which obviously amounts to a huge sum of money. In 2004, he was arrested in Gurgaon, Uttar Pradesh, and he was arrested for his involvement in the kidney transplant racket scandal. But during the same period, Devendra Sharma and his gang, as it's written here, were also involved in abduction and murder of taxi drivers. Now, they would also steal their cars and then they would sell them in the grey market area of Uttar Pradesh. He used to make about 20,000 to 25,000 for each vehicle. So again, he saw that that's a money opportunity. So he started stealing cars and killing the drivers from the Gurgaon, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh area. So between 2002 and 2004, he was sort of doing all this. And later he confessed to about 50 to 100 murders. That's a lot. Just in case you all need a clarification. Case number 2, KD Kempamma. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So usually when you're the first person to do something in your country or wherever, it's usually, hopefully you want it to be a good thing. But in Cyanide Mallika's case, not so much. So she was India's first convicted female serial killer who murdered 6 women. Now, she lived in Bangalore and her first murder was in and around 1999. She would befriend women at the temple. She would, gain their confidence, become friends with them, and she would present herself as a very holy, pious woman who really believes in all that stuff. But what she used to do is then, with the promise of, I think, some sort of ritual that she would conduct for them, she would call them to another temple and she would particularly ask them to wear the best clothes with a lot of jewelry and valuables. But yes, they would come to her at another temple and she would give them holy water, which was laced with cyanide, which obviously killed them. And once they were dead, she would rob them of their money and any sort of valuables, jewelry, anything that they had got. And from this modus operandi, thus her name was Cyanide Mallika, she would actually hold the nose of her victims as they would drink the holy water. And she would even change her identity after every murder to obviously not get caught. But she was caught trying to dispose of, evidence, jewelry, whatever it was, by the police. And she, in fact, even confessed during the interrogation. She was arrested in 2007 and she's been given life imprisonment right now. Now, the interesting part about this is she said that the idea of trying to kill people or killing people with cyanide actually was, she got it from movies. She used to watch movies about, I'm guessing, murderers, and she got an idea, okay, cyanide, I can kill someone. Which is very scary to listen to because, everyone watches movies, right? And there are so many murder mystery movies which sort of might give people the idea of how to do it. And, it could be anyone watching these films. It was her right now, but it could be anyone maybe around you. You never know. Now the final case, number 3. Now this one is about Renuka Shinde and Seema Gavit, who were sisters and they killed about 6 toddlers. Now these killer sisters, as they have been called, were trained to be petty thieves by their own mother at a very, very young age. Now one day Renuka, the elder sister, was in a temple and she tried to rob someone, but she was caught trying to steal. And then a crowd sort of formed, started questioning her, abusing her, and she was with a 1-year-old baby. The name has been given as Santosh. So she was with a baby called Santosh, and so fearing that people might sort of attack her physically or even capture, she started making a scene, and she tried to offer Santosh, the 1-year-old child, to them, and she even like swore by her son Santosh, and eventually people, I guess, caught sympathy for the kid and they let Renuka go. Now this was sort of a turning point in the sisters' lives, because they realized that if they have small children with them, people will probably have sympathy for the children, and if they were ever caught, they'll let them go, and they would eventually get away with the robberies. Renuka's husband, in fact, used to sort of encourage their and supported their criminal acts. He would steal vehicles from Pune and then use these vehicles to travel to Mumbai, Kolhapur, Kalyan, nearby cities to commit other robberies. And any child that sort of became a problem for them, who would maybe misbehave or whatever it is, they would kill the child. And the women started kidnapping children between the ages of 1 to 13, and this happened between 1990 to 1996 for 6 years. And the method with which they would kill the children, gruesome is an understatement. Again, your discretion for the following part that I'm going to say, but they would smash their head against a wall to kill the children. But later they were charged with 13 kidnappings when they were caught, 13 kidnappings and 9 murders by the Sessions Court. None of the killers would confess, but eventually during police interrogation, the younger sister Seema, she confessed to all the crimes. The Kolhapur court gave a verdict to hang all 3 of them, the sisters and I'm guessing the husband, until death in 2001, which was upheld by the Supreme Court in 2014. The president also refused their mercy petition, but both the sisters have made attempts at trying to avoid the execution. Now, one interesting thing about this case is that they had a specific rule among themselves to not get fond of any children or not get too attached to any of the children they kidnapped, because eventually they had to kill them one time or the other. Also, in court, they were proved to be mentally stable, which means they did not have any mental disorders or anything of that sort. That would lead them to commit these crimes, because usually what people do is they try to plead insanity to get away from the maybe execution or life imprisonment, whatever it is. But they were proved to be mentally stable, because they found out later that all these murders were committed very strategically, and they would do it in a very calm and composed demeanor, which means they knew what they were doing. It wasn't sort of a spur of the moment thing that happened. But again, yes, to this day, they're in prison and they haven't been hung yet. So yes, those were the 3 cases I found on the internet. I mean, I had a huge list actually. I found a lot of them. But these 3 were the cases that I thought were, one, interesting to listen, look at and research about. Secondly, because I had only heard of them. I hadn't gone into depths of what they did, etc. So doing that was very interesting, researching about them. In fact, now that you look back at all those cases, all of them were out of sort of greed for money, right? The first one, Dr. Death, he was also out of greed of money. Second one, Cyanide Mallika, again that. And the third, the sisters, also the same. The only difference was in the way they would kill them, and it got progressively gruesome, I would say. So yes, that was it for this video. Hopefully you all enjoyed. If you all did, hit that like button. Comment down below what more you want me to do on this podcast or on my channel. Don't forget to share this video with anyone you might think that might find these cases interesting. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.